Can y'all hear me?
Yes.
Oh, thank God. Ooh-wee. Okay, guys, first and foremost, I'd like to say I'm nervous.
Okay.
And excited.
That's okay.
Here we go. Sanbonani.
Hey.
Ngegama nguTshepo Molefe. And I was named Hope in a language I can barely wrap my tongue in. I mean, a Zulu accent would somehow leap out of my mouth to declare me as one of their own, while a Sotho clan hides within my lungs. What I'm trying to say is that every time I speak, I portray my own kind. This is probably a good time to explain. My accent got lost somewhere between my father's tongue and my mother's tongue and my father's translations. And my culture could not migrate fast enough from Lesotho, so borrowing one from Soweto was probably the next best thing. Now, my tongue calls me Zulu while my name drags me back to my father's land. Hey, don't blame me. My father had sinkholes for years, so whenever my granddad gave him his history in speeches, he would often lose his attention. Thank God mother had buckets for hands that held fragments of my granddad's lectures. Unfortunately, like my grandmother, mother is one with the soil. And father's growing shovels for hands to dig for parts of himself in between what's left of my mother. I'm afraid I'll be joining him soon. I'm afraid this may become a father-son tradition. I'm afraid I may have to look for my identity in between my grandmother's tongue. I refuse to let go of my granddad's name. She's an old scripture, written on corroding scrolls. I dare you to find your clan name in a book full of blank pages. If you look closely enough, you'll often find me holding history books, hoping some text might trickle down and tell me just who the hell I am. Because we were once 19 and naive, adolescents playing at being adults, but in this game, there are no takebacks. Every mistake is an ink blob to your reputation. You realize you aren't as special as your teacher once promised. You realize that parents are often older kids that misspell misery as love and pass on their fears as inheritance. So you stumble across the world with society's doubts orbiting your mind. You're orphaned by your own fears. What a fate. To be fathered by your own orphaned dreams. You carry your family in your pockets. They are too shallow to house such poverty. You try to cradle them in your palms, but like your money, they slip in between your fingers. You are now bread, crumbling, from feeding yourself to bodies that ask too much of you. Here's an arm for your uncle, leg for your nephew, torso for your ma, neck for your sister. You have nothing left to give. So your boss settles on feasting on the rest of your dreams too. Your pockets are running dry. Your eyelids are heavy with your problems. Your problems are peeling your smile. Your smile threatens to leave. Like all your lovers. Like your mother. Like your sister's happiness. Because you've been the bane of her existence. My father is a blacksmith. My sister's tears are his greatest masterpiece. How does one begin to forgive himself for being the anvil of his sister's misery? The first time I had a taste of my father's disappointment was when my sister failed a grade. He said, she's a disappointment, a failure, something to throw money at to see it vanish. My sister has been looking for her self-worth ever since. Whilst I've been tilting bottles, looking for any ounce of courage to tear away from my father's expectations of me. And from falling back into my father's mouth and being spewed out as failure, disappointment, something to throw money at to see it vanish. It's in times like this I wonder whether them having us on this earth was an act of love or selfishness. My family and I have made a house out of a storm. My father naturally inhabits properties of lightning, having enough photons to light up our whole world. Yet, choosing to strike my sister with his shocking tongue. Of course, my sister's gonna react violently to this. How else must wood react except to burn loudly? Now I have to take on wind's responsibility. Always going and coming back with enough turbulence to separate lightning from wood. Sometimes to fan the flames. You know, to keep my sister alive. At times, I find my sister drowning herself in the tears she's already cried. I wonder if letting her turn to ash might be her salvation. It's the 25th of December and my sister learns to wear her smile again. She never notices how her face lights up whenever joy finally shows up for work. It's good to see her adorned in such hope. Lately, sadness has been a pimple that won't let her go. I blame my father for that. Him and his shovel of a tongue, always digging into my sister looking for a fight. On some days, he finds her in a hallowed self, waiting for him to pile more insults on her. Can you imagine the type of strength it takes to walk while empty?
Yes, yes.
Hi. It's Nandi again. Dear Ma, if you were to see me today, would you be proud of the son I'm becoming? Y'all remember those Sunday mornings, right? When Tatetusa used to be your alarm clock and waking up meant that you have 21 hours and 11 minutes to finish your Monday morning homework. Y'all remember those Sunday afternoons where the crescendo in Marvin Gaye's song sang you into irritation, while each of his keys would unlock a bit of your mother's smile as she cooks herself into your Sunday course. I too remember those Sunday afternoons, where Ma used to knit all her dreams into the puffy jackets that made us the envy of every kid when winter came. I like to think it's her love and Shade's cadence that kept us warm. Every Sunday afternoon, Ma would listen to Eddie Zondi's sermons. Kim would revive her fading hope, and any man having enough testosterone to hold all her woman. On some days, Jill Scott had to visit her ears to remind her that her life too is gold. I hated those Sunday afternoons when Ma's milk was half spilled. The doctor said that her lactose was past its expiring date, and hers was dawning. The only thing that kept Ma's spirit high was Lionel Richie's sweet melodies. He and Marvin always had keys to unlock a bit of my mother's smile. I was helpless in those Sunday afternoons. When Jimmy Kruger's guitar chords strummed courage into my backbone. The Reaper sang too many lullabies in that ward, and the smell testified to the traffic heaven got from that place. I'll never forget Ma's breath coming to its final note. Danam, embody me in your pages. Let me live through your voice. Let your work be my resurrection and your salvation. Ma, paper's too inanimate an object to contain you. Your soul needs flesh, so I sacrifice my left arm to hold all your wonder. If that's not enough, will resting on my tongue suffice? Her wake sounded like death trying to understand the living's resilience. Nina's humming is responsible for that. She sang us back to comfort, reminding us that Ma's smile could always be heard in our heartbeats. I still go through those Sunday afternoons, when Marvin's often notes would somehow sing Ma's memory back to life. Such sounds hurt Dad a bit too much. What other choice did he have, except to turn Metro FM back to silence as he cooks himself into our Sunday course? My mother's body is stuck in my throat, and she's getting better at escaping through my eyes. This is her second successful attempt this week. Even from Earth's womb, Mother's still teaching me to cradle her memory without the touch of ethanol. This too, I hear, is called healing. On dating, ever since the earth has swallowed my mother whole, I've been looking for her in every lover I've dated. If I don't find her, I'll resemble their father's footsteps, walking out of their childhood again. By the way, this is my last poem. Thank you guys so much. There are many reasons why people drink. Some drink to celebrate an achievement. Some drink for that purchased happiness. Some drink for that 4-hour oasis between them and reality. These are my reasons. I am my father's cooking, lacking maternal love in each stir. I am Marvin's often note singing Ma back to life. My family is what happens when you wish for the dead and being answered only by silence. My family is the apology stuck in between the grave cynical teeth. My sister is the salt in between my father's tears or his cooking. I'm my family's problems. I'm my father's fiery tongue aimed at my sister. Her rage is what turned her to ash. I'm a concoction of my father's expectations of me. I am drowning in my father's disappointment of me. I am downing cheap liquor to stay afloat. I am every man drowning anything that feels in alcohol. I also me. I am every man drowning their inner child's ambition in alcohol. I'm every patient choosing ethanol for healing. I'm every son who's answered the question of grief through malt. I am missing my mother through malt. I have replaced my mother with malt. I am tipsy and searching for a party to contain all of me. I am tipsy and searching for a pub to spill into. I am drunk and searching for reasons to live. I am drunk and struggling to survive. I am drunk and barely breathing. I am drunk and barely breathing. I am drunk and barely here.
Thank you for that beautiful work, Tshepo Molefe. Another big round of applause for him, please. Just to note, could everybody sitting on that side of the seating, please just move a little bit in, because I'm seeing people trying to find space so that they don't have to sojourn too much. Can we just like make space for everybody? Thank you. Thank you so much. And everybody, just a reminder, yeah, like just I hope everybody's phones are on silent. So we don't get any ringing while people are trying to perform. So Tshepo is still our reigning champ for the 7th season of the Poetry League. But today is all about season 8, which has been one of the most exciting and unpredictable seasons yet. So we're gonna have a look back at what season 8 was all about. So I'm just reading. Okay, so a total of 59 poets have participated in the 8th season of the Word and Sound Poetry League. Some of them are sitting amongst the audience. Thank you all for being here. 37% of the season slammers have been women. We've had some really fantastic poetry from the women this season. And also, all season 8 top finalists are from Pretoria. Okay. Yes, Cap City, stand up. So, yeah, Pretoria is in the building today. The finalists will be judged using the same criteria that we've been using all season. So we're going to be looking at them by the strength of the writing, how good their performances are, how well they handle the subject matter of the poem, are they offering a new refreshing take on something we've perhaps heard before, and of course the relationship that they build with you, the audience. So the Poetry League rules are as follows. Just gonna wait for the rules to be put up. Okay, so while I wait for the rules to come up, I'll just let you know that they're basically going to be 3 rounds with an elimination after each one. So Nobody can afford to have an off performance today, and everybody's points will go down to 0, so it's all about what they bring to the stage today. So these are the basic rules, right? They only have 5 minutes each on stage. Everybody has to check their ego at the door, of course, and as long as no one bleeds, anything goes. But we are still operating under the Constitution of South Africa, which means that everyone has the right to the freedom of expression, which includes the freedom of the press and other media, the freedom to receive and or impart, the freedom, everyone has the right to the freedom of expression, I'll start that again, which includes freedom of the press and other media, freedom to receive or impart information or ideas, freedom of artistic creativity and academic freedom, and freedom of scientific research. The right in subsection 1 does not extend to the propaganda for war, incitement of imminent violence, or advocacy of hatred that is based on race, ethnicity, gender, or religion, and that constitutes incitement to cause harm. So anyone can pretty much say anything on stage as long as it is not in any way bigoted, of course. And with that, I think we're ready to get into the first round called You and the Mic. So usually, everyone gets on the stage with really fabulous props and really fabulous sound, and it's always such a beautiful show. But today we're stripping them down. It's just the poet, it's just the voice, it's just the mic, it's just the audience. So can everybody please give it up for Masai with a poem called